All right, maybe if I not move here. Yeah, Ken. I don't know what the deal is tonight. It's I've been trying this for a couple hours. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi connection or what, but we've been having trouble with the main one in the house, and the Netgear one seems to when the one in the house goes wuzzy, this one out here just don't want to pick up for some reason. I'm about ready to get something different. It fades in and out, and bad connection, everything else, and we'll just see what happens here. Hopefully it'll work. I don't know what the heck the deal is. Don't move. Trying to get you to work here, Ken. About ready to well, I'm not gonna say. Into my I'm trying to stay positive into my day that wasn't the best, but oh well, that's just part of it. Seemed like everything I touched today just went to crap, so trying to stay positive here. Really, technology's it's a good thing. I need to figure out how to make $1 million to where I'll make my own YouTube channel. Well, hopefully that'll work for now. I don't know what the deal is, but Still getting bad connection. Hopefully you'll stay with me. I've tried every angle. I got it on my tripod now, setting up a little bit higher. I don't know if that's going to help or not. Like I said, it's been one of them one of them days. If you want something that is delicious, guys, these microwave, a buddy of mine told me about them, microwave pork rinds, and I was kind of hesitant, but they are the bomb. The bad thing of it is you can only find them at like the Dollar Trees and things. And I've hit, like, we've got 3 of them, and I've hit them all. These are the hot and spicy. I like the hot and spicy ones, but they also make a just a regular one. And they're pretty addictive. But hope everybody had a good day, and hopefully the night, my night will get it a little better here. Kind of been milling around some different ideas still yet for businesses and things. I still really haven't give up on that aspect. It just sucks the way you have to go about searching for jobs anymore. You know, most of it's done online. I'm used to the old fill all the paper and give it to the people, and I got piles and piles of certificates, boiler licenses, all my certificates. It's just, there's years and years of stuff here, and I was talking to a gentleman that was trying to kind of help me a little bit with my resume, and he says, you know, you would just want to kind of make it short and sweet, and he helped me draw one up. He gave me one of his resumes, kind of a copy off of it's just one of them things, you know, when you haven't done it for so long, it's fun, that's for sure. Found one of my old ads for my commercial. I don't even know if I still, I used to have it on my phone. I don't know if I still have it or not. I see I still have you, Ken. It's been challenging trying to keep this stream on. I'd like to move it, the camera, but I was gonna see if I couldn't find that old, I forgot I even had it. I'm sure it's here somewhere. I was pretty proud of it when I first done it. I don't know, kind of depressing having to do the old job search and things. It's just where you choose to customize your life. That was one of my better, me and the guy sit down and he's like, oh, let's do it like this. And I said, no, let's do it like this. And we hem-hawed over it for, I guess it was a couple hours. I miss, you know, things like that, doing, you know, for the business. I think once it's in your blood, I think it's, you know, it never, you don't get it out again. That's what I told my wife the other day. I said it's really hard for me to think that I'm going to have to go back to work for somebody else. And you know, like I said, I haven't totally give up on it. If I could find, if I had to do it over, I would have took my retirement money and bought me a building. At least, you know, it would have been at least half paid for, and I could have, you know, shoot, worst come to worst, I could have went around and picked up scrap and stuff. And you know, there's a lot to owning your own business and that, but there's nothing like the satisfaction of you know, accomplishing something on your own. And you know, you don't you put up with the bullshit, but it's a different kind of bullshit. You know, to me, it's it's worthwhile. I have a hard time putting up with the crap when it's somebody else's um, that makes it. I could go and come as I wanted. I love to do the videos for the uh, gear wrench and the Snap-on. I think I could have had him come around pretty soon. He was, I was warming up to him to where he was a little bit more. He's the one that let me do the video on the Mr. Big Boxes and things. They made a special trip over there to the shop. It was I was getting in good with that, and I've been kind of trying to research that aspect. I wouldn't mind doing a few videos and things for companies and that, but it's going to be a lot of them want you to do it their way, and if I'm going to do a video for somebody like that, I really want to have at least a little bit of say or control of what, if I don't like it, or if it's not to my standards, I'm going to tell you guys. A lot of companies don't want to have the negative. They want the I'll give you the positive and the negative, and that's just kind of the way I am. And it's the same way with business. I'll tell somebody straight up how the cow ate the cabbage. It's just and that's I sometimes laugh because my wife always says a soft word turns away wrath, and sometimes that's true, but sometimes you got to play hardball. At least you do in business. You can be the nice guy and everything, but there's a point where people will try to walk on you. People try to tell you or insinuate, what they're going to pay. And, I've had several people try that with business when I was, doing it. And I know there's a lot of people out there that's more experienced and, had more probably more business knowledge and things than I did. I was proud for what I'd accomplished in the 3 years that I had my business, because like I said before, I've got it on my own. Nobody helped me. Nobody. I mean, I had a buddy that truly believed in me and that, and he went out of his way before I got my retirement to help me get the building and stuff. I needed a loan, and it meant a lot that he trusted enough in me to give me that kind of backing. It hurt me the most, I think, when I had to let the shop in town go, because I knew that I still think I could have made it work, and I really need to go talk to another gentleman that he had a building and things, and he was kind of wanting to help me out there, and I don't know if he could have helped me get the backing or whatever, but it's, I know there's things to come. You know, you got to just trust in the Lord and you know, move on with your life. But I don't know, it's just one of them things that I don't really regret, but I look back and wished things would have worked out a lot better. But you guys don't want to hear me sometimes things happen for a reason. You know, I feel a lot more fortunate than most people. At least I got to follow and at least try to get, you know, what I've always dreamed of. You know, there's the ones of you that are new, or a lot of the older ones have heard that, you know, that was my main goal, was to be as big, or as big as West Coast Customs. You know, that was, you know, I would have liked to have been able to do a deal on A&E. You know, it just, I guess it just wasn't in the cards. You know, I see a lot of, a lot of these new shows and things that are on TV, and you know, there's still a lot of motorheads out there. There's still a lot of what I call gearheads. You know, that market is it's still out there. It still really hasn't, a whole lot of people haven't tapped into it. A whole lot of people don't realize. I've got 2 or 3 different ideas for reality shows that I think would pay off. And I think it would be kind of neat to take some of the people from different parts of YouTube and, you know, kind of pair them up, put them together, whatever you want to say, and you could come up with some pretty good stuff. You know, just with the personalities that are I've seen in the YouTube community. You know, you own your own business, or you do your own channels and things. You know, we all are well versed. We're all have our own opinion of different things. We have our own way of doing, but we all get there. You know, it's I don't know. It's just, I've made a lot of good friends through the YouTube community. I've learned a lot from different ones, whether they be younger or older. And I think that's what we're all put here for, is to learn. When you think you know it all and you're Mr. Know-It-All, karma's going to come back around, trust me. I've seen it time and time again. Karma's a bitch, and a lot of people don't understand or don't, you know. And I didn't when I was a young man. I thought I had the world by the tail, and you know, I had an uncle that he'd tell you, you know. He was from the old school and that. He didn't have that good of an education, but he was a heck of a mechanic. And he run his business. As the older he got, he run his own business. he done very well for himself. You know, that was back, you know, when cars were, well, that's what I call cars were cars, you know. You know, there's nothing wrong with the cars today. I would love nothing more to take an older car and come, you know, do like Foose and West Coast Customs does, you know, put the old with the new. You know, and in some aspects, it really is, you know, there's some younger people out there that are, they understand, or they're the gearheads and things, but then again, you know, they're it's dying off. It's just like a friend of mine was telling me, you know, he thought his boy was going to take over the family farm, thought he was interested in that. You know, maybe he'll come back around or whatever, but, you know, he says it's almost to where, you know, he said, I don't even know why I'm wasting my time, you know, doing, you know, he said, I'm doing all the chores and everything. You know, he's, you know, he's running after girls, which I understand, and I told him, don't give up on it, but, you know, he sits and thinks, you know, he said, you know, what do I got, you know, what do I, you know, why am I killing myself for it? And, you know, and the only thing I can tell him is, you know, hey, sit down, talk with your kid, and, you know, if you're tired of it and he don't want it, you know, you're at the right age, you could probably sell it and retire and not worry. You and your wife could enjoy life. You know, it's been in the family for 3 or 4 generations, but like he said, you know, it's I don't know. This thing is really starting to irritate me. Why I'm having so much trouble tonight. Are you back? Maybe. I don't know. It's just been one of them. One day you're up, and it seems like the next day you're just down, and you don't know what way to turn or what way to. What a piece of junk. Well, I got 3 people, but I don't know. This live feed's really making me irritated tonight. I don't know, guys. It just seems like how's it going, John? Trying to keep this live feed going as best I can. It don't know what my problem is tonight with it. Trying to get the computer come up. Not a whole lot. I was just telling the guys I'm gonna have to fix my hydro dip tank. I drained the water out of it, but I guess I didn't get it all the pipes and things, so I had a little bit of mess when I put it in water in it today. I'll go get new fittings and stuff for it tomorrow. It's no big deal, but it's just the fact that I never even given any thought with the temperature and stuff. And other than that, it's been one of them days, up and down, you know how it goes. I was hoping my lottery numbers would have come in and I would have won the lottery or something. How's things been going with you? See if I can give you a blue wrench here. You're officially now a blue wrench. How's it going? Just trying to stay alive here. Kind of, excuse me, listening to one of my old commercials for my old shop. Just sitting here kind of reminiscing. What's up, 802? I just got the chair, and I got my tripod sitting because I had a bad connection. My computer, you guys are you was facing this away, and now I've got you turned this away, so I'm right on top of the router because I was having trouble. No, that's a heater going. It sounds like a diesel sitting there idling, but it's kind of sitting this way. I'm not used to it, and I got to look at the computer and then back at you guys. And oh yeah, you want to hear it? This is one of my old commercials. If I come back on. Know if you guys will be able to hear it or not, but
are you looking to customize your life, but you're worried about getting the screws put to you? With amazing customer service and nothing to hide, Radical Customs is the answer. Radical Customs now has hydro dipping for customized car parts, ATVs, or even that special gun. But Radical Customs does more than just hydro dipping. Radical Customs can do custom lights and body lifts, and even suspension lifts. Stop by Radical Customs, located at 2380 Worth Lane, Suite B in Springdale, or call 409-8928. Radical Customs, where you choose how to customize your life.
I don't know if y'all got that or not, but me and a guy sat down and wrote that up. And I was kind of experimenting and playing around and that, and it was I had a little bit of it wrote up, and he fine-tuned it. But like I told him, I said that last part, there was some things in it that they had added, and I told him no, I don't See, we had one of them like that, and they made us condemn. I don't know if it was the scissor, if it went into the scissor lift itself, if that's the way I'm reading it. OSHA wouldn't even let us. I told them I could put a patch where it was, and OSHA made us condemn the lift because we could have put new scissors on it, but they don't want you to weld on the there couldn't be a patch there. And I took most of the hydraulic stuff and that, and the batteries and things we took to the recycle place, and you'd be surprised what you can get out of them batteries and that. But I've seen guys, I had a friend that's a radiator, he done a lot of radiator repair and stuff, and I've seen guys run lifts, rather than push them back to back, they'll push them with the front of the forks, and then it'll slip and jab a hole through the coolant thing, or they put a fork. I've seen that happen a couple times with the bigger ones also. Dang. Wow. We had a guy one time, a truck driver pulled the truck out as he was backing out of a trailer when I worked for Tyson, and we literally had to go out there and pry the guy's hands off the steering wheel. And I've probably been the same way. And we got the forklift upright, and nobody wanted to drive it around the building, so I drove it around to the overhead door, and by the time I got there, the batteries and stuff on it was, you could smell it, and it was about toast by the time I got it around to our shop. So we just let it sit out overnight and disconnected everything. But yeah, I've seen some stuff. I had one in one time, and they had a scissor lift, and they'd raised it up. The scissor lift was all the way up, and the guy in the forklift had them raised up. And when I seen it, I was like, wow, you guys are just wanting OSHA to come write you I've seen a lot of different crap. Yeah, they do. And even some of the used ones cost a bunch. Yeah, but they're handy. If I had another shop, that's one investment that, it'll pay for itself. And I'm sure the guy, when they delivered by box the hutch, they just had a man jack, and then one of the little Tommy lifts on the back, and he had to kind of move it around and stuff. And if he'd have waited on me, he was in a big hurry. If he'd have waited on me, I had a guy coming down there to help him out, but he was one of them drivers that he he couldn't wait, and I told him, I said, young man, you're going to learn that you need to work smarter, not harder, because you know, my old shop, it was a good ways from the main road, but what he told me, he said, well, I just didn't want to back in there. And I told one of the other guys, I said, it wasn't, he didn't want to back in there. I said, I've seen him back, and I said, he couldn't have backed in there, not with the way the cars were down through there that day. And, you know, he'll live and learn. It's just one of them things that, and I've seen some old timers not not do so well either. That wow, that is just. I got into it with a little guy. He'd kind of told me that, and at the time I was lead, and I bowed up to him. He told me he didn't have time to be safe, and we were taking down racks, and you know, we'd take them down one at a time, and you know, I've been on them, you know, we've taken them down, we've put them up, but they were taking 4 of them at a time down because they thought it was faster just to put the lift there, tie it off to the lift, and let them down, and then there was 4 guys that would undo them, but they were still double working themselves. I could take down, me and 2 guys could take down a section in about an hour, where it took them about 2 hours of doing it the way they were doing it. I tried showing him, he wouldn't listen, and they almost turned a lift, one of them scissor lifts over. They did one section, and if a guy hadn't been there with a forklift to help support the lift, the guy that was in the scissor lift would have been hurt pretty bad. I've seen forklifts take out I-beam, you know, in a metal building, the beams in a section of the building. What I didn't like about our scissor lifts is towards, you know, before I had left my place, and they're going to get somebody hurt that way. I've been in a couple of them to where they've almost turned over, but they would have you, I don't know if you guys had to use the PPE, but strap yourself in or lock yourself in. In my opinion, that is, you know, I would rather have my tether up on the beam rather than in the scissor lift itself, because I've seen several people hurt that way. You know, they can't get away from when it falls, and it either falls on them, or you know, I've jumped on pallets. Not the right thing to do, but you know, I've saved my butt a couple times. 90% anytime I've ever got injured on a lift, scissor lift, or whatever, is somebody else's negligent. I had a guy raise up one time, wasn't paying attention, was a new guy, young kid, knew it all. Got my hands in between we had some, we were putting up, we were going to paint a machine or whatever, and we were blocking it off, and we were putting up Biz Queen, and you know, I had a hold of Biz Queen, and it was, you know, it was a full roll, and he got it in between the pipe and the lift. So I mean, it's things can happen quick. You know, a lot of people don't understand that. Like I said, when I was lead, or when I worked in the factory, that was one thing that I tried, you know, stressing, that, you know, let's all go home with our digits. And there was a couple guys that they would rush, 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 hurry, 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 and it's just one of them things that people don't understand that, especially in industrial maintenance. That's one thing. You've got to be sharp, and you got to watch the guys that are around you, and you know what guys you can trust, and you know what guys that you can't. You know, we had one that if you worked with him, you could count on getting your fingers smashed or skinned or something, because he was just hurry, 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 and you'd have to tell him to slow his ass down. That's just the way he was. What's up, David? I don't know. It's a lot different out there since the last time I was in, you know, even 3 years, you know, and working for myself was, you know, yeah, there was aches and pains, but nothing, and it just, I hate to say it, the stupidity just runs rampant anymore. It just, you know, I had a guy pull out in front of me the other day, just on the road, and he acted like I should slow my ass down, you know, because he pulled out in front. What is up, Jay Young? But, you know, I don't know. It's just, sometimes I wonder if people leave their brain at the house, or what. You know, I know I'm not the smartest duck in the pond, but goodness gracious. And it was funny because I went paint store a while back, and the guy that runs the place, he said, I want you to watch this guy when he comes in. He said, and he's painted some cars, and he said, you know, they're, you know, he does an awesome job on them. But he said, you know, he's using a slow, he either uses the slow reducer or the fast reducer, and then he'll add more thin. He's trying to save money. I know what he's trying to do. He's using thinner, more like the reducer. He's because I could tell by one of the rigs he had, you know, it had a flat finish to it. I mean, and you know, to each his own. If that's what he wanted, that's great. But it's just Ron, my paint guy, he was asking me. He said, just watch when he buys this stuff, and you tell me, because he said he called me and he said this is his stuff, and he's painting a full-size car. But he's buying, he only bought, I think it was 2 pints, which depending, you know, you can mix it, but I mean, he got the minimal amount possible. And Ron was asking him, he said, now you're painting under the hood and that. He said, are you sure you got enough? And the guy's like, oh yeah. He says, you know, this is plenty. This is, you know, and me, I'd have probably bought a gallon. But he bought 2 pints. He bought, I think it was a pint of, I wanted to say it was either a pint or a quart of primer. And Ron said, you know, don't you need a little bit more primer also? And the guy says, no. He said, I've got the car wet sand, and he says, I'm going to throw a quick coat of primer on it and that. And Ron was like, well, don't you mean primer sealer? And he's like, no, I'm not gonna seal it. He said, I don't know why I need sealer. And Ron just kind of looked over at me, and I didn't say a word to the guy. And it was funny because Ron went out there, and you know, we kind of talked about it, and he said he has his own shop. And he said, you know, and I was telling him, you know, my business wasn't. He said, I don't understand it. You know, he's cutting corners, he's doing everything, in my opinion, wrong. But you know, as long as he gets them out in the cars, he said they're lining up. And he said, I don't understand, you know, the deal there. He said, you know, he said, you really should go back in and have your own shop to where you're painting cars and things. Because he said, I've seen your work. And he said, I've seen his work. And he said, it's, you know, and I said, but Ron, I said, he's charging only $500 to $600. I've seen his ads and things. I said, there's no way I could paint a car for that. You know, there's just, you know, there's too much labor. You know, by the time you buy your tape and your material, I don't care if he's cutting corners, you know, your tape and stuff like that is still gonna eat you alive. And that's what I told him. I said, I don't see how he's doing it, especially with the overhead, unless his building's paid for. And Ron says, I don't know. He said, people's, you know, they're lining up. And he said, you know, and I said, well, I said, I'm probably dating myself, but I said, you remember the old Earl Shives paint jobs? What was it? $29.95. Come to Earl Shives and you know, that's all that stuff was what was it? They bought it by the gallons, or 55-gallon drums. And then you go to the car wash in a couple weeks and they'll wash right off for you. But it amazes me hey, that's an idea. I never thought of mixing it with gas. Or you could use propane. That might work too. Thin it down with. I just need to get my shop here at the house, get a paint booth built in there. I'd never heard of that, Jay. I guess it could be. Yeah, see, that's, and I know some guys that's done that. I know a guy that's doing that right now, and he, you know, he's got two auto sales. I call them fly by night. You know, you pay $50, whatever, a week and that. And I went with him a couple times and get a couple cars, and it's funny that people come back, give them, you know, the money, even though he's repossessed it on them. And you know, I know he's sold the car 2 or 3 times over and has doubled his money. I was teasing him about it the other day, and he said, I wonder how well that'll work. But, you know, you can go buy the Makita deals that are sticky, and you can track your stuff with their phones. And I said, you know, what you ought to do is take a bunch of them. I said, heck, I think you can get 4 of them for like 99 bucks or something like that. I said, you could stick it up under the dash, and heck, we wouldn't have to go searching for the car. You'd be right on your phone. But I know a lot of people that's done that, and they've done good for themselves. Like I said, he's got 2 lots, and they're standing in line, you know. You know, they don't realize that $50, $60 a week, they could, you know, have a regular car payment. But I'd seriously thought about doing that myself, getting into flipping cars, but I don't know, different strokes for different folks, I guess. It just amazes me the different. Yeah, and especially right now, you got to watch, you know, with all them flood cars and things. I know we're getting a few of them here and there, and yeah, I've been down that road too a couple times. Or close to it, I'll put it that way. And I'm sure you have, Jay. I know I have a couple times, and it's not like in the movies. Everybody thinks you can drive through the cornfields, but a cornfield will beat a car to death, or a truck. A lot of people will think that you can just drive down it like they did. What movie was that? The tornado movie or whatever. That truck, you know, that truck would have been beat all to hell and back driving down through there. And you don't see, trust me, you don't see very well going down through there either. Yeah, the movie Twister. Back in the day, though, that's when they built, you know, built cars good. I'd hate to, well, I'd like to do it just to see what it'd do, but with the thin bodies on them and that now, it'd really beat one to death, I bet. I've been in Volkswagens crossing a river that you thought was going to flip over because the water was running in the windows and things, and you wonder how it's still running, but it does it. As long as you keep that you get that carburetor and stuff wet, you're Has anybody seen Brother Roy in a while? I hadn't seen him hardly in any live feeds or, excuse me, live streams or anything like that here lately. I just kind of wondered. He sent me a text the other day. I sent one back, but I hadn't, just kind of was wondering about him. I knew his wife was, had caught the flu bug. Wow, I've been on here for one whole hour. My butt is dragging and it shouldn't be. I was up at 6, but well, I'm getting a bad connection once again. Kind of aggravating. Well, I'm not going to fight it, guys. I'm going to get off of here.